Hello and welcome. We are the Untold Stories Project. Tonight we present a brand new episode of Tales of the Finest, our ongoing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons game using the Blue Rose setting from our friends over at Green Ronin Publishing. My name is Jonesy and I will be your game master this evening. Quick note for those unfamiliar with Blue Rose. In Blue Rose, the envoys typically take on the roles of members of the Sovereign's Finest, commonly referred as envoys. Where they act as agents of the crown, tackling any number of challenges such as settling border disputes, assisting in disaster relief, and tracking down Kurnish spies, and anything else that the crown will throw at them. A few quick bits of housekeeping. As a quick note, we are a small but growing channel here on Twitch and on YouTube. If you like what we're doing, please consider doing all the Twitch and YouTube things. Follow, like, share, subscribe, etc. Along with that, for those watching live, there are a number of things that you can impact the game and help the envoys out. To see what those are, just type !BR unlocks in the chat. And one other quick housekeeping note, there's currently a Kickstarter going on for the print version to get the Blue Rose 5th edition rules out in print in stores. It is currently funded, and they're currently unlocking the last goals, the unlocked stretch goals. They are 3 days left, and I'm gonna ask people to check it out because the next stretch goal is my adventure, and I would love to see it unlocked. So, so I'm totally biased, I admit, but yeah, I'm really proud of that adventure, and I'd love for people to see it in the 5th edition. So, with that, I would like to turn it over to our players for them to introduce themselves. Tonight, they're going to let us know your name, your character name, all the character bits, and tonight's character question of the week. To become an apprentice envoy, you must be sponsored by an existing senior envoy. So, what was your envoy's name, and give us a little bit about the envoy who sponsored you? We'll
Hello.
start with Alex. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll go first. Hi, everybody. I'm Alex, and tonight I will be playing the part of Drake, who is a Rye Raccoon rogue. And his sponsor to the envoys was a knight called Terran the Old, who was once a powerful warrior, but in his old age he is taken to full-time envoy recruitment. And Terran sort of makes a habit of searching unexpected places for potential envoys, like in the gutters of Aldous, and in the dumpsters of Aldous, where he found me doing community service after being arrested for theft. He offered me a position in the Sovereign's Finest as an alternative to my community service, and Drake is a little suspicious of Terran the Old for taking pity on him, because Drake's not used to kindness or softness from two-legged folks, so I'm interested to find out more about him as the game goes on. Over to Andy.
Oh, hi everybody, I am Andy, no not that one. I am playing Bom Bangma, the knight person fighter, although lately I've been more effective as a tackling dummy than anything else. And to answer the question, he was sponsored by a fellow named Arno. Arno sort of at random happened to witness Vom in a pub winning a fight against a couple of guardsmen and getting into some serious legal trouble, and thought the whole thing was rather hilarious, given that the entire he was able to discern that Vom had meant no harm, but was kind of decided that Vom would probably be safer, and everyone else around Vom would also probably be safer if he were an envoy, and not not starting fist fights in pubs. Although he's probably going to try tonight.
Shocking.
We love a good fist fight.
Speak for yourself.
No, we do actually love. But anyway.
No, I'm aware. I'm just saying not so much fear.
Oh.
Brian?
Wait, I'm I'm sorry. Sorry. Discord freaked out on me. Hey everybody, I'm Brian. I am playing Keela Briner. She is a Seafolk barbarian, and her envoy that recommended her for the job was actually her dad after she got in trouble. So, my dad, Ludrin Breinrunner, is a captain in the Royal Navy, captain of the Undertow ship, and I've basically been sent off to boarding school because I can't take care of myself. Don't say nepotism didn't get anybody in.
Wow. How am I supposed to follow that up? Hey, everybody. I'm Aaron. I am playing Tizra Vasker, who is a Vatasha warlock. And Tizra was sponsored by a Vata'an by the name of Martin. Tizra was an orphan and a refugee from Kern, and was bitter and angry and sullen because, as far as they knew, their parents were killed and their sister had been left behind. So they kind of had a chip on their shoulder and thought that no one would ever accept them, being a Vata. And Martin was the one who kind of showed Tizra that no, here in Aldous, people are actually mostly nice and mostly accepting, and that's why he sponsored her to join the envoys as once they started to come to realize, oh, it's not all bad here. So
Awesome. Thank you for that. Quick note, our envoys are envoy trainees. They are currently apprentices. They're finishing up their final stretch of training and are stationed in the capital city of Aldous, in the heart of the kingdom of Aldous, which is kind of a New York thing. Where they currently have been roundaboutly roped into helping out an ally of the envoys and occasional explorer and point of interest and inspiration for a series of kind of outlandish novellas that kind of float around the city. A gentleman by the name of Quinlan. Quinlan has recently uncovered a small vault to the south, which contains a treasure trove of old relics and lore, which was quickly stolen from him and his expedition before they were able to return it to the Royal College for study. The envoys have been roped into helping recover it. Last episode, they actually managed to finish clearing out one of the night pads, a group of bandit hired thugs, and cleared out one of their dens and recovered a trove of information and returned it to Quinlan, where they discovered that amongst them, the stuff they recovered were numbers of journals and volumes and possible spellbooks, but they were all heavily encoded, and they needed to figure out a way to help unlock those ciphers. Along with that, they also uncovered a ring, a potion, and an item known as a Mind Stone. And the ring is currently in possession of Kale's possession, and Kale, our additional fifth envoy, is currently not able to join us tonight, and in turn, his character is actually meeting up with his sponsor and getting up to date on that and filling the sponsor in with what's been going on. So we'll catch in with Kale and what him and his sponsor were talking about next episode. But in the meantime, the rest of the envoys spent the evening, after all that excitement, they went to the Ballad and Blade to relax and get a few drinks before heading in for the evening, where on the way home they encountered a peculiar gentleman, and I believe this gentleman, by the name of Kestrel. Kestrel was using some sort of device to distort their voice, so it still might turn out to be someone else besides them. But they were dressed rather strikingly in a slate blue gray cloak and outfit, including the cape to be cut, the fringes of the cape to be cut more like feathers, and the actual wearing a small bird-like design mask. Where they Kestrel imparted some information about possible contact with a silence that hangs out at the Sleepy Drake, a tavern by the dock parts of Aldous. And with that, the envoys returned to the room and called it a night. That's where we kind of find them. They were planning on their next steps. They also learned of a possible connection to a would-be influential member of the city by the name of Myra, a Rycat who could have connections to the Night Pads, the brigands that they encountered earlier. So,
Is it Mother Myra or Miss Myra?
Mistress.
Mistress. Thank you. Oh,
Don't feel bad. I kept giving her different titles last episode.
I know. It's so bad. I know it's only been one night, but for me it might have been a week.
It's funny how that works sometimes. Yes.
You would not believe it. You would not.
And yet sometimes it feels like a 30-second fight lasts 3 hours. It's amazing.
You guys won't believe it. I dreamed that we were all being played by people with dice and paper.
No, that's crazy.
So at this point, the envoys do have a couple options available to them. They do know that the would-be possible contact for the Silence, which is a criminal organization in Aldous, would be at the Sleepy Drake later this evening. There's also the possibility of going to have a surprise visit against Mistress Myra and see what she's up to. And there's also the other avenue of trying to figure out ways to help to decipher some of those texts and tones that you have. So.
Yes.
So I think the Drake would be the easiest place for us to start now.
Yeah, I
I'm pretty
think.
sure you all know where I'm voting for.
Well, yes. Although I think that perhaps today, between studies, I might try to investigate this stone a little further. Although I suppose, Drake, you might be able to do so as well.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come along with you. See what kind of information we can find out before we head down to the Sleepy Drake.
Sounds good. Just tell us what you know. Hey, by the way, Kale's studying the whole day, so he's not going to be doing his thing on us, so we're light on our bed sheets.
What a nerd.
We will somehow survive without him, I'm sure.
And I will put that on your epitaph. Now close the door behind him as it.
I'm not. Well, the working with the stone can be done here in our room. It's just.
Oh, I thought you guys were going out.
No. It's right here.
Oh, okay. Well, Brom, I guess we are sharing the good wine.
I'm just going to sit and pretend that he understands anything about it.
So, for Drake, the Stone of Memory is a wondrous item. It's you can use it to basically imbue memories into a stone, and basically it's kind of a magical thumb drive. But it relies on telepathic talent and telepathic gifts in order to access it and use it. So since Raiden and Vata both have those innate ability, that's one of the reasons that it's been suggested that you might be able to assist.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, I would like to assist.
I have already tried once today. I'm assuming that I need to let some time pass before I can try again, but I suppose there's no reason you couldn't.
Yeah, plug this thing into my noodle. Let's see what's in there.
When did you try it before? Was it before we...
When we were still with
Um,
Quinlan and
Well, we've had a night's sleep since then.
well, technically, it would have been yesterday.
oh, okay. Well then, I guess I could try as well. I just know what my downloads are, or what my dice luck is like. So, um,
I got your back. Don't worry, Teaser. We'll be all right.
all right. What was that roll again, Jonesy?
What was that?
Said what was that roll to try to get into that again?
In order to access it, it is an intelligence check.
Right. 'Cause I'm good at that. Yeah, let's try it. So Tizra will hold the stone in their hands and they will concentrate on it.
Yep.
And I get an 18.
Yay! Awesome.
I accidentally clicked my intelligence save, but it's the same roll, so.
It worked. Bitter? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Taunting the dice like that is how you end up with ones.
I don't have to taunt anything to get ones.
So, with that, yeah, you're able to focus on the stone for a few minutes. And as you concentrate on it, you're kind of staring at the black stone. And as you stare at the black stone, your vision kind of fades to nothing but black.
Okay.
And then you see that you're in some sort of underground chamber. High walls, not a single shed of light coming in from outside. All the light is actually coming off from Shah's crystals that are kind of sprouted around in torch holders around the chamber. It looks like some sort of scribe chamber. You see several tables set up. It seems like documentation's being written, and you see what appears to be a tall, thin Vata gentleman. And as you kind of looking around, you look down and you see part of a code cipher.
Okay.
And that is what is kind of imprinted in there. You can actually see, the different square, cubes, and triangles and other weird shapes, and some of the letters they represent.
Okay.
And you also get the feeling of just the emotional imprint as well, since you got an 18, that whoever created the stone was nervous, was uneasy, was scared when they made it.
Okay. I will telepathically reach out to everyone else to try to share as much of this impression as I can, so that I'm not the only one who gets it. Because I have a feeling that we might need that that cipher, or that bit of cipher.
So, as a recap, what they found in this first stash of items they recovered last week from the night pads, inside the chest there was several scrolls. What they thought was a spell book of some sort. There was also a antique map. The map itself showed the nation of the various nations around Aldous, but there were several distinct differences between the current map, the map that you're used to seeing, and this map. One that immediately jumped out that you would have noticed, Drake, was that there was no Verdant Marsh and no Shadow Barrens and the Badlands. These areas were still all lush and not basically not broken yet on the map.
This is a really old map.
Fairfield map.
What will you say?
No.
All right.
Are there any other markings on the map besides the plain differences we know about?
No. The map that you saw, you didn't really see any other notations on it. It is mostly like a geographic map. And you do know that Quinlan is arranging to take all the map and all those books to the Royal Archive, which you would have access to as well, being envoys. And the Royal Archive and Library and the Royal College are all part of the palace compound, which includes the Hall of Envoys and Knights of the Blue Rose, the elite knight order of Aldous.
What is it? Does that mean that these scrolls, these books rather, these are accessible to us right now?
Yeah, they would be accessible. Yeah, because you know that Quinlan was going to come over later that day and bring them over. This would have been so your group would have gotten up, done the first couple hours of requirements that you have to go deal. You know, classes you need to go to, teachers and senior envoys you need to meet with, and get that stuff out of the way. So yeah, you have a little time at this point.
So,
Seems like we should put the cipher together with the books.
Yeah.
It's possible that the cipher will help. Yes.
I agree.
Oh,
None of that cipher looks like Thieves' Cant to me, does it, Jonesy?
It does not.
Okay.
This is definitely intended to be a complex code. It's yeah, definitely designed. Not these cats generally designed to look like misdirect and look inconspicuous when it's used out in like to mark a street or a hideout or something like that. But this is definitely like strange symbols to represent different words and or combinations of words, things like that.
this is high-end code. It's magic grade. Not that peasant wingding you guys scuff around to.
Excuse me, Princess Diaries.
You're lucky I even know what wingdings is.
Thinking with jigs, whatchamacallit?
My favorite one is the skull and crossbones. Reminds me of you. I think that's a W.
I think.
So,
We're going to the library.
yeah, I would like to go to the library and start working on this cipher, since we have some time before we go to the pub later.
That seems reasonable. I can join you in the library. I'm not terrible with books.
I might be allowed back in the library.
You know, Yvonne,
So-
if you think there's a better use of your skills elsewhere, that's fine. If you want to go do that.
I honestly, I don't have much to go on until we get around to pub time. So Bob could just pursue his studies. He probably got something going on.
Okay.
Accounting, dental assistant.
So Vom is actually going to go off and go to some classes and do that kind of stuff. While the other group of you cut across the Azure Palace courtyard, which is the big open plaza, where they have a lot of gatherings and festivals and stuff like that, and make your way to the Royal Archive, which is on the other side of the Royal compound. Um, so, um, when you arrive, you go inside. You are greeted and by a couple of the clerks that are working the archive, and ask about Quinlan, and they basically give you directions to the small side room that he's off currently occupying. And when you make your way down there, you see that he is in a small chamber, currently with the windows closed, but the sunlight's still coming in. And amongst the tables, you see several of the books have been carefully removed from the chests, and also the map is laid out with some small weights to keep it flat on one of the nearby tables. And you see several of the boxes are there. And one thing you do note that stands out apparently is when you first went looking through the boxes, you were looking for items that that Kale was pointing out, because Kale had used detect magic to try to find anything that was bubbling up with Arcana. And in this case, he didn't call this item out because it didn't call his attention, but you do see a stack of what looks like a stack of cards sitting on the table as well.
I would like to go take a look at that deck of cards.
I'm shocked.
Hey, it could be helpful.
So you go up and look at the cards, and something I should note: in Aldous, in Blue Rose, the printing press does exist. So books are common, not like excessively common, but they're far more common than you find in some other settings possibly. And they can also use it to print other things. But this deck of cards appears to have been handcrafted. Each one of them delicately painted on the front and the back. And Drake, as you look over at them, you see that they're antique, but they seem to be a little worn, but also still in really good shape. And if you pick up a couple of the cards and flip them over, you notice it's not a standard deck of cards. It's actually a deck of the Royal Road.
Oh. Well, that doesn't do me any good, but that's neat. I'll sort of look at them reverently and point them out to Teaser if she wants to come take a look at them.
Yeah. Teasra will come take a look. I don't know that Teasra has ever spent much time with those cards, but I don't know. What am I getting from looking through these cards, Jonesy?
So the Royal Road deck is a deck of cards that actually is very reminiscent of the Tarot. And so it's got the four suits and the major arcana, and they are popular in Aldous, but definitely more popular amongst some of the bardic circles, and also popular amongst a group of humans known as the Roamers.
Okay.
The Roamers were originally from what is now the Shadow Barons. That used to be their homeland, and now, well, the Shadow Barons blew up. A Shadow Gate actually blew up in the Shadow Barons, and that's what devastated the whole nation. And so now they are now displaced, and so. But it's definitely something that came from that part of Aldea, and has kind of spread out amongst the different people across all of Aldea.
Okay.
They're good people, but definitely don't play cards with them. Is my scientific recommendation.
What you would know, since you are actually a warlock class, is that depending on one's skill, and sometimes these can be used in place of some certain spell components, and actually be used in place to cast auguries and blessings and stuff like that.
Okay.
Instead of having to use a more traditional spell component or an expensive spell component that may get used up, this could be used in its place.
All right. I don't suppose we see anything looking through the cards that seem at all reminiscent of the symbols that we were seeing in the ciphers.
Make me an intelligence check.
Oh boy.
The last one worked out pretty great.
That's
Actually, let me take that back. I'll give you the choice. You can either use investigation or insight.
Can I use intelligence instead?
Sure.
Am I allowed to assist to give her advantage? Or give them advantage?
Sure. We'll say that as Tizra is looking through the cards, you're actually flipping through some of the books. So we'll say that.
Okay. 1 moment. Let me get back on. All right. So I'm getting advantage because of Drake. Let's see what happens. Hey, thank goodness for that. That's a 17.
So flipping through one of the books, you do get the impression that as Drake is flipping through some of the books, you see that the ciphers seem to be different ciphers used on different books.
Okay.
And so one of the books does seem to have some connection to the Royal Road as far as being able to translate it, but how it currently matches up, you're not quite sure. But you think you might be heading on the right path. You might just need to get a second opinion from someone.
Okay.
It's a little bit more familiar with it, possibly.
I will relay that to Drake and say, if you look, I can't quite put together what it is, but there seems to be some connection between the ciphers in that book and the cards, and I feel like we need an expert, but I feel like there's something here.
Good. Any idea where we can find an expert?
Tizra will gesture around to the vast library that they are currently inside.
Fake.
I'll go get a librarian.
Perhaps we could talk to well, not at the moment, but perhaps Quinlan or the professor or.
Yeah, Quinlan seems like a good resource. Although, do we
don't
trust him?
Do we have much choice?
I don't know that we have much choice, but
and just as significantly, if we do not trust him, he already knows that we're on this mission. Most people don't.
that's true. I guess he should be our first point of contact.
It does feel a little bit like deciding not to trust him now is closing the barn door after the horse escapes. Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So with that, as Drake, as you were flipping through the books, why don't you make me an investigation check?
Oh,
as you were helping Tizra earlier.
I would love to.
And while I'm asking for that, what are you doing? Sorry, my brain just blanked for a second. Ula?
Just watching this happen at the end of the game. I don't know what to do about this stuff. I got the librarian for us.
The one terrified librarian.
He's right here.
Take whatever you want, just don't.
What do these letters say? But I'm hanging up with the. drinking pizza for now. While we
Okay.
sniff down the lead.
Well, would you believe it, Jonesy? I rolled a whole 5. So
Yeah.
It seems to be written on some kind of paper.
right.
Very pretty
It's-
handwriting.
It's a book. It's got words in it. But yeah. Okay. So, so you guys are the group of you are looking at the books, talking about that. Vaughn was off across the campus.
It's like a remedial etiquette class, you know.
Studying as you guys spend a couple hours looking at the books and trying to figure out how to piece this together. During the time, you do check in with Quinlan. Quinlan is obviously over there trying to decipher some of it too, and you can definitely see that he's gotten a small stack of things that he's attempted to try to translate, breaking the cipher, and it's just gibberish and pages and pages of gibberish, and he's as he starts and stops and starts and stops and trying to, he's not having a whole lot of luck so far either. When you mentioned the possible connection with one of the books about the Royal Road, and his eyes kind of light up for a second. It's like, I don't know enough about that, but I know someone we might be able to ask. And we'll sit down and quickly scribbles a note and goes and finds a page to go send a message off.
He didn't even ask us if we thought that was a good idea. It's fine.
It's really bad. Or really illegal. Aren't always the same thing.
I feel like you don't trust my NPCs.
Well, we've played with you before, Jonesy.
No, we just don't know what the thing said.
But it's Blue Rose.
It's true.
I wasn't present at his scepter plan. Anyway.
So, so anyway, while you guys keep trying to look through the books and get some more, get some food and all that stuff, and you're trying really hard to break through some stuff. About an hour goes by, and there's a small knock on the door frame, and you see what appears to be a rather handsome gentleman standing in the doorway. He's got slightly wavy brown hair, a little bit of stubble and 5 o'clock shadow across his face. That he's dressed immaculately. If more basic clothing, but it's all pristinely taken care of and very, looks almost new. You can tell it's been around for a little while, but he treats it well. So kind of knocks at the door for a moment and just kind of waits to see for a reaction from anyone before he enters in the room.
We'll go ahead and get up a little quick and try to open the door for him.
Excellent. As you do, you see he is, I'd say he's wearing kind of a very standard, but slightly basic clothing, but very clean and neat and very meticulously taken care of. But he is wearing the badge of an envoy, emblazoned on his chest.
Oh, welcome. You're here kind of early, but that's okay.
I was bored, and I got the message from Quinlan that you may need my assistance. Where are my manners? I am Morgan Brightstar.
Oh, well, Morgan, welcome, and I'll kind of grab his hand and lead him to the table.
Certainly. I mean, like I said, he is kind of attractive. And he's like, he kind of looks over everyone and kind of just, and as you get him at the table, he definitely gives you a smile. I'll kind of smile back. And it's like, Quinlan said this may have something to do with the Royal Road and a cipher of some sort.
Oh, yes, you're the person Quinlan sent for. You have us at a disadvantage.
Oh. Well, I'm an old acquaintance of Soot, and I have met Quinlan and aided Quinlan a few times in some of his, endeavors. He tends to find trouble a lot.
I've noticed that.
I think so.
Okay.
And yeah, we will show him what we've been working on, what we've been trying to figure out, and see what he can make out of it.
Certainly. So he kind of looks at the book that you're looking through and kind of opens it, flips it back and forth. And says, "This is really old.
Yes.
Very well made, and finely crafted. But these were all handmade. This is quite a collection of books for something that old, the time period." Yeah, I can definitely see what I can possibly assist with. And he looks over and sees the deck and picks it up and shuffles through it rather practiced, with practiced skill. He's like, these are nice. Puts them down a little bit and starts looking through the books. He can definitely assist if someone would like to try to and try to pull out some cards and kind of match some stuff, and we'll pull out from his own side pouch his own set of cards, which are also handcrafted, and each one looks, his don't quite match 100% to the ones that, so there's slightly different iconography, things like that between each personal deck.
Sure.
So with that being said, he can definitely help look through it. Would one of the envoys like to take another stab at trying to translate this book?
I would like to try to redeem myself if everybody will allow me.
Absolutely.
And just as a reminder, you do have 2 bits in the pool from various viewers in the past, so you still have a couple bonus Queen's favors that you can dip into to give you a +1.
I will just roll.
Okay.
Naked roll. Here we go. 15.
Awesome. Now, did you roll that with advantage since he's basically aiding you?
Oh, I did not roll that with advantage. I'll just roll one more time. Nat 20, 23.
So, he pulls out a couple things and he's flipping through some pages, and you kind of like, as he goes to flip, you put your little paw down and stop his hand from flipping the page. And as you do, you kind of start lining things up. And about an hour and a half, 2 hours go by, and you're able to translate this small little book It's about the size of a personal journal, like a little notepad journal. So several pages in there, and you're able to kind of translate some of it. And the document that you're able to kind of come out of it is, uh, it seems to be some just rough personal notes, but the notes speak of. Let me make sure I don't mess this up. Speak of the disciples of the dark.
Well, that sounds
And,
sketchy.
So it refers to some group about the disciples of the dark, and growing number of rivals, and that threaten her eminence, and a few other things like that. And there's actually a list of some names in there as well.
Whose names are in there?
Several names, and I can get you a list of, but several names that you do not recognize. But anyone who'd like to can make me a history check based on overhearing the conversation about Disciples of the Dark.
Oh, I'm here for it. Let me get that +1. Here we go. Ooh, 19.
Hey.
I got a 10.
20.
Okay. Look at y'all.
Exact same roll as Drake, but I have a slightly higher bonus.
People paid attention in class.
All I know is it's 5 o'clock somewhere and it's right across the table.
Don't know what you're talking about.
So, with that, the Disciples of the Dark were a small group that served the Shah, the Dark, the first Empress of the Empire of Thrones. Empire of Thorns.
Okay.
She was the most powerful and the first of the major sorcerer kings and queens, and she ruled with made the first empire of Aldous. And actually, Aldous, the city, was once her home base, until eventually, several centuries later, she died, and several of her rivals rose up as the various sorcerer kings and queens. You're pretty sure you now have a list of some of the names of some of those regional sorcerer kings and queens that once laid claim to different chunks of Aldea.
Okay.
That sounds bad.
Well, she was a powerful arcanist who used occult magics to extend her control and power and influence and her life.
Yeah, it's not good.
And led to the rise of the Empire of Thorns, where she basically ruled as the first empire. And what led to the Great Rebellion was her death, and then the rise of the Sorcerer Kings, which led to then eventually to the Great Rebellion and the overthrow of the Sorcerer Kings and Queens.
So yeah, not good.
More than a few shadow cults would be more than happy to get their hands on some of this information. If all this other information dates back to the same time period, you might be standing on a treasure trove of occult lore.
Jonesy, do I know that the Night Pads have had any association with this kind of stuff in the past, or is this out of their wheelhouse?
You know this is outside the wheelhouse, as far as you know. Your experience with them has been very minor, but they are definitely more on the lines of we like to be well taken care of and wealthy and comfortable and don't want to have to do any effort or hard work to do it. versus dark ancient occult magics from before the before time.
Yeah,
It's a little different now.
that sounds bad.
Now, would the night pads take information like this and sell to the highest bidder? They most certainly would. And
Yeah.
there are more than a few shadow cults that would be happy to have their hands on this information. And pretty much any of and also you suspect any of the current 7 that rule Kern to the north.
See, I don't like hearing about that.
Yeah, I will share. I will share all of that information with the group.
Sorcery.
Yeah, to the lands of north, the northern nation of Kern used to be ruled by the Lich King until not too long ago, where Queen Jalen and her consort and several others dispatched the Lich King. They literally led a first strike assault against the main tower, his main tower, and actually fought him in a one-on-one combat, and dispatched him. In his stead, his 7 major lieutenants have now seized control of the nation of Kern to the north. So.
Right. Which is, why it's not a great place to live.
No, I didn't. I cannot recommend it as either a second home or a vacation.
So, but and so Brightstar is sitting there with you as you guys are discussing all this, and he's kind of like starts looking over some of the other books and stuff, and is like, "This could be bad."
You would say.
Yeah, sorcery is rarely good. I've given to understand.
You're not wrong.
How who's all aware of what you're sitting on?
What?
Uh,
That is a very interesting and quite loaded question.
well,
I think this chair's made a good fit, actually.
I'm sitting on the ass. I'm pretty sure.
Outside of the people in this room and Quinlan and Soot, there's.
it seems probable that Mistress Myra has some idea.
Yeah. There is a night pad that we let go named Brim, who probably knows we stole everything from their place as well.
But I do not think that they knew what was inside the box. So
Sure.
Okay. Oh well, I'm a little relieved to hear that Soot is aware. Well, that's it doesn't look like, and he starts flipping some of the books. It looks like that cipher won't work on all these other tomes either, but I might be able to discreetly ask around and see if I can get some leads. If you would like my aid.
Just be careful that not too many people find out about all this.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I will endeavor to make sure that doesn't happen, and I wouldn't want to cause any distress to any of you. And as he finishes that line, he looks, his eyes lock on Ula.
I'm gonna reach into my breast pocket, slide him a note. That's it. Smile back and have a good time.
So with that, he'll make a couple quick notes on a piece of paper to try to get some examples of the ciphers and see if maybe he can find a way to help find ways to unlock these for you. And we'll bid you a good afternoon.
Bye.
And he leaves his contact information, how to get a hold of him. He leaves you his address.
We are both thinking the same thing. Oh crap! I actually gave him my grocery list.
He will leave the group his information.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call you.
God. Man, to be young and in love, to throw mind stones across the street just so they can throw them
No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
back.
No, you hang up first.
So it's been several hours. You've managed to decipher some of the information. Was there anything else that you want to do at the archive before heading down? Because now it's going on to early evening. Um, so it's about the time that you'd be able, if you wanted to, you can make a rendezvous with the gentleman down at the Sleepy Drake.
Yes, I think it is time.
I want to go question him. This is dangerous stuff they're messing with.
Oh, Bob then.
Yes, I think so.
Awesome. And with that, the envoys head off to Sleepy Drake.
Off we go.
Sleepy Drake is located down in the dockside part of town. It's closer to the large, massive lake that the city of Alda sits on. Parts of that part of town are kind of out on a set of small little clusters inside the water itself, where a lot of the merfolk, the sea folk, call home. And the Sleepy Drake is actually on the northern end of that region, so definitely more inland. So, and as you arrive, the tavern itself is a rather large outdoor space with a small mid-waist high stone wall that kind of surrounds a small courtyard area with several tables and stools. And the two buildings that you see, one's adjacent building seems to be a private residence that's kind of adjacent to this complex courtyard area, and the other seems to be the open area, like an open walk-up window that basically you go up to order to get food and drink. And you also see a few of the current wait staff going back and forth between that window and bringing out drinks to the group. There's several small torches lit up already, even though the sun's starting to go down. So long shadows are being cast, and they've already lit up a couple of torches to kind of make sure it stays bright and cheery. Small banners and pinions of color being strung around the top of some poles that kind of hold these lights. And amongst all of them, you see a couple of different clusters of people, and sitting on one of the booths in the far corner, kind of nestled up against the wall, you see a rather stocky gentleman with bright red curly hair, who you recognize from the description as the one that you're looking for. Sitting next to him is another slender gentleman with blonde hair. And you do know, based on the contact information that you got, that the gentleman you're looking for is Ugrist. And he is a Jarzoni of Jarzoni descent.
Okay.
Are we all gonna like swarm them, or
I
What's
think that would probably send a bad message.
I think you're right. I'm gonna give Teaser a shot. Go get her.
Oh, what?
I I think
I
I was
think you
gonna
can do it.
I was gonna put on my offensively cheerful,
right
drunk persona and do that. I think,
that's the direction I was headed as well.
yeah. So
Double down. Both of you can go. The choice.
I don't know. Actually,
I'm not exactly proficient in that direction, but I support the two of you going over to talk to him that way.
I mean, if we want to have a chat with you, just take a look. Take them both. Let's sit and chat.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, well, they're very good. So yeah, we'll go get them. We'll get them one of whatever they've got, and just sit down. Well, not sit down, but approach them. See just how friendly, just in how friendly of a manner we can get them to react to us.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you kind of case the area, you do see that they appear to be drinking. They have a couple mugs, probably of ale.
Well, yeah, get one, get one of what each of them's having, and drinks for us at the same time, which means each of us is going to have to carry one of them, for the other logistics. But yeah, that's basically it. We're gonna and approach respectfully and with booze. I think so many
Awesome.
situations could be dealt with in this man.
I mean, more problems could be dealt with if people came up towards me with a smile and a good glass of booze in their hand.
Yeah.
So as you approach, the two of them seem to be in conversation, and they're just chatting. And as you approach, the conversation kind of tapers off, and they kind of look up. Well, hello.
Good evening. My friend and I, we were wondering if you two gentlemen could use some additional companionship. And Teaser will then gesture forward with with the mug they are carrying and say, "You look like you could use a refill."
Oh, I am not one to turn down a free drink. By all means, have a seat.
We'll do so.
So, haven't seen you two around here before.
Okay. Not so much.
We tend to go more to the blade, but we've been known to come and have a drink here from time to time.
I've not been thrown out of it yet. Not yet.
But that's a bonus.
Night's still young.
I did get warned in a very solemn tone one time.
Well, I'm sure the owner is quite well. He's quite a pushover, but his bouncer, on the other hand, yeah.
I'm just gonna
That is kind of one of the nice highlights of this establishment is that you don't have to worry about the crowds getting too unruly.
You guys come here a lot then?
I'm a regular, yeah. Oh, where are my manners? I am a. Check notes. Check notes. Urgrist, and this is my husband, Tolan.
Oh, well, so much for flirting with them.
It's not
Jonesy, I'm gonna slip into Thieves' Cant, and I'm gonna say something just nice and genial as a greeting, but it's gonna translate in Thieves' Cant too. If I was looking to talk to somebody in the night pads about buying something, where would I look?
Cool.
And if they look at me like I'm speaking French, I'll know not to ask them.
So, awesome. So you're saying that, and they've been introduced themselves, and while he's kind of roundabout asking that question, what are the other two of you doing? Can you say anything specific, or?
Um, Isra is mostly just trying to chat them up and get them talking about so what do you do for a living? Why are you a regular here? What brings you here night after night? And doing their very best to be very charming about the whole thing. But lots of open-ended questions, trying to get them to talk.
Establish bonhomie, as it were.
Yeah. Teaser has a good charisma. They're
Actually,
good at that.
Kind of okay at that.
Well, why don't you go ahead and make me a persuasion check and see
We
how
can-
how chatty you can get them to be.
I can do that, hopefully.
Shall I? Well, actually, yeah, I do
That's a 14.
Oh.
Not a great roll, but not a terrible roll.
First roll of the night. I also got a 14. Far less of a bonus. So we roughly the same result. But Vom had to work for it.
Awesome. So, as you're chatting up, they kind of the two of them kind of opened up a little bit and like, well, yeah, well, the husband kind of chops up Chanson that he works down by the dock area, so it's not that far away. He's a day laborer down there. He's loading and unloading ships, and this is just a nice spot. The clientele's pretty comfortable and doesn't get too rowdy. If it does get rowdy, Xander, the bouncer, has more than adequate of taking care of that. And he kind of, as he says that, he kind of nods over, and you see, as he kind of nods over to the far side of the tavern, you see a rather large Rycat that's just very, well, scruffy looking, I guess is one way to put it. The Rycat's kind of missing an ear and has a jagged scar over his left eye, and just definitely looks like he's been through a few scraps. And a little bit more muscular than you're used to seeing most of the Rycats throughout the area. So, meanwhile, Drake had asked indirectly, kind of talking to Ula, and definitely making it sound like he's talking to Ula, but very much kind of broadcasting at Thieves' Cant. Where does a bloke have to go to buy some stuff? And you hear from the other side, from kind of behind you, depends on what you're looking for, what you're trying to sell. Comes back in Thieves' Cant to you. When you look at, you kind of catch the eye of the guy who says that. He's a rather large, rather plain-looking gentleman. Brown hair, kind of medium length to his shoulders. Doing a very good job of trying to dress inconspicuously.
I will go talk to him. And just say in Thieves' Cant, I have a particular contact who's interested in purchasing items of occult leaning. I heard there was somebody in town who was in on that game.
Well, that's a dangerous game to be in, especially in this town. And if the foolish night pads are doing that, then they've got more things to worry about than just a raccoon who's asking too many questions.
You got me wrong. I'm just interested in making friends in town. You seem to know a lot about this, about what I'm talking about, though. If I could be so bold.
Well, there are other groups in the city that don't like when occult items are up for sale. Draws too much of the wrong kind of interests and the wrong kind of people.
I mean, I definitely agree that they're attracting the wrong kind of people. I heard that they were dealing in those kinds of artifacts. Let me buy you a drink, and I'll scuttle over to the bar and buy him a drink.
Well, you can join me at my table. I'm sure that your friends are there already. As he picks up his mostly empty glass and heads over and cuts across the courtyard to join the table that the other two envoys are sitting at.
Drake will shuffle over to the bar, grab another drink, and say, "Friend's a strong word," and then mostly to himself, and then trundle over to join everybody else.
Hey now.
And
And meanwhile, back at the other table, the two of you are chatting with them and finding out a little bit more when a rather large, kind of blonde, brown hair, kind of average-looking gentleman walks on up, and just does, without saying a word, sits down and slides up next to the big redhead and leans in and kisses him on the cheek. And with that, he's like, "Oh, allow me to introduce my my husband." Kidman.
Right. How many more is coming? That's
Just the two.
oh.
So, um, and they start chit-chatting a little bit more, and yeah, and as you kind of were kind of getting him open up, he definitely Ugrist definitely has a Jarzonian accent. He's definitely not born and raised in Aldous. And so does his husband, whereas Kidman, who just sat down, doesn't appear to have a Jarzonian accent.
Just where is it? Well,
Teasra will happily chat with them some in Jarzoni. They could use the practice.
They seem kind of surprised a little bit, not in a bad way, just more like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that you speak Jarzonian," and so they chit chat with you for a few, and definitely don't do very much of it. They kind of switch out just so they can keep everyone else engaged in the conversation.
Sure, and it's more teaser, dropping in words, kind of doing a, am I using this word right? Because Jarzoni is their third language.
And
All I speak is kleptomaniac. And teasers out here with 3 languages.
Actually, 4, but.
So with that, a few moments later, Drake comes joining on up with his drinks. So
Quite a well lubricated family now that we've got. That's not a. I'm just gonna cut myself off now. I'm not even gonna finish that sentence, and we're gonna pretend I never said it.
Oh, you think
Please,
we led
God.
with the both of you?
Please, God.
Oh, no. I don't think we're going to pretend you never said it.
God damn it.
I was gone for 1 second. You guys are over here lubricating the family? Did the tactic change?
I was.
as a note, we should clip that. I'm just
God damn it.
Hey, you might get lucky. They might have an oldest king size bed.
How do you clip things again?
Oh, I think there's a button for it.
so.
Oh, I found it.
Wait a second.
So with that, they kind of make it a little bit more chit chat and small talk, and then Tola kind of says, "Well, why don't we get to why you're here?"
Sorry, I can still hear. I can hear the playback in the background, and it's just killing me. I'm like carrying on about lubrication still in my headphones.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'll be all right.
You'll be immortalized forever.
Well, honestly,
So.
Well, I mean, we're here. Oh, I forget who the contact for the silence stuff. Is it there, or somebody refresh Andy's memory? It was not working.
Yeah, I need to do a better job note taking.
I think he is our point of contact. This is the point of contact.
Was
Worst
it
case, he's just a peddler.
the point of contact for? Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, not the night pads, but I think it's the silence is what they're called.
Yep. Yeah. If you need to get a message to the silence, he was the voice you'd use. That was actually the comment that was made.
Have it.
So.
Drake is trying to... I mean, I guess there's no hiding the fact that I'm a Rye Raccoon.
No.
Yeah. The fabulous cape is giving it away.
You just paid for your drink at the bar.
They're probably at least vaguely aware of who I am as a person. Oh boy.
So, yeah. So he's like, so how can we be of assistance?
I'll sort of look at everybody else.
This is sort of where yes, we weren't here. I'm trying to remember what it was that we were actually looking for the silence.
I don't think we ever got past the code in the bar phase.
Well, if I remember correctly, they have. Well, I think it was Kestrel actually who told us about that they had. I think it was another. Why is my memory so bad? Kestrel had. I think they told us that well, Kestrel's the one who put us on it in the first place.
Right.
I think it was that the Silence had more. Either that they had more books or that they had found a place where there would be more books. that is kind of like our. I believe is what we're. I'm keep hoping that like someone's gonna pick that up and be like, yes, actually. And
I can't remember.
So-
Did we need to pass along a message? Or what
I'm
were we gonna do with
I'm
the guy?
deeply worried that I'm just making things up now.
So, with that, the rather plain-looking gentleman's like kind of says something in Jazonian, which you pick up, Tizra. They were asking about the pads, and there's kind of with that the one gentleman, the bright red-headed gentleman, like so. At this point, if you're coming to talk to me, I'm sure you've heard. I have ways of getting information to and from the Silence. No, I don't know who they are. No, I can't. I won't be able to take you to them. No, I won't be able to point any of them out. It's rather clandestine, and I do this as payment for services rendered to me. And with that, you can see a small flinch of his arm as he squeezes his husband's hand. But what I can tell you is that they usually stay clear of the night pad. The night pads are usually smart enough to stay clear of the Silence. The night pads are a small little operation that's trying to be something bigger than they are. But when they start dealing with items of occult nature, it's a problem for everyone in the city.
On that, we agree.
So we didn't do them any favors.
So are we helping them that we found the night pads with the occult items? There's been rumors that they've had them.
So, we know of a place where they normally try to sell some of their ill-gotten gains. They call it the down below.
That's not ominous.
It's
no, I wasn't taking it that way.
it's a older building that sank years ago into the city during one of the multiple arcane incidents that occurred, and they kind of use it as a gathering place. They think they're clever. They refer to them as dens. But
that would be another one of those. So we might. We've had such a lovely time in their company so far. Why shouldn't we go and continue it? I mean, the night pads rather. It seems like another.
Is the down
another
below an
ring
open
bust
market? Or is it more exclusive?
It's generally exclusive.
So we get in there.
Well, if you wait to go to one of their, well, it
Options.
depends on what you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to go during one of their gatherings, then that might be a little bit more difficult. If you're willing to go, let's say off hours, perhaps, and just, well, kind of looks over at Vom and looks at Ula. You know, invite yourselves in. That's up to you. I can just tell you what's that information.
I think it'd be nice to have that information.
I concur.
Good to have.
I agree.
So, with that, he'll pull out a piece of paper and scribble on the piece of paper. The location of the entrance to the down below.
Yep.
I also know that they occasionally gather someplace near the docks. I'm sure there's a warehouse or something along those lines that they gather there. I've seen them more than a few regular faces down that direction in town. But bringing this kind of contraband to the city is dangerous for everyone. It's bad for business.
So you wouldn't be upset if they went out of business under mysterious circumstances?
Personally, I wouldn't care one way or the other, but I'm sure the Silence wouldn't be upset about it if that happens. Like
Oh,
I said,
good.
I just play relay man.
All right.
Well, I would like to stay off of the Silence's radar, if at all possible, everyone.
Hey,
What's a radar?
Oh, shoot, you know.
It's a location spell.
It's a Shaz stone. It's a Shaz crystal thing.
it's a particular type of medieval spanking bench.
What are you guys talking about? Hypothetically speaking, there are right. Wait, that's sonar.
That's sonar.
Damn it.
And
Well-
there are Rybats and Rydolphins.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
I would like to stay off of their echolocation.
There you go.
Out of their awareness.
Yes.
So,
Below scrutiny, if possible, is where Drake would like to remain.
Yes.
I've got a history with the Silence.
well, I mean, I'm sure they've done multiple horrible things, but I know that when I first arrived in Aldous and my husband was still trapped in Jarzon, they helped arrange for him to get across the border when none of the allies, or the envoys, or any of the elders of this city were able to assist me. So,
And you said it.
Right.
Well,
Sounds like we need to go to the down below.
we would appreciate anything. It sounds that way.
First, we should go to the store. Get some bandages that can be drained in case of emergency.
so
Say ball bearings. And
Ball things. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I need ball bearings. You monsters.
so with that, the party is going to, the envoys are going to leave the Sleepy Drake,
Yeah, I guess so. I think so.
and as you leave the Sleepy Drake, that is a great time for us to take our first break.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
All right. Everybody get up and stretch, get some water, get a snack, and we'll see you in just a minute.